High school is a stage in most teens' lives where they begin to try a variety of extracurricular activities. For many, this means engaging in sports programs, with teams like hockey, soccer, volleyball, football, basketball, and numerous others. The options seem endless. While this system is seemingly perfect, there are underlying inequalities between men and women once you look deeper into sports programs. There are adversities for women that have been evident since the emergence of female sports. Title IX is a federal civil rights law that was passed as part of the Education Amendments of 1972. The act was passed to end discrimination in various fields based on gender and race. Title IX is best known for its impact on high school and collegiate athletics. We found a number of athletes in the community who had strong opinions on inequalities between men and women in sports.
Hi, I'm Lexi Hoffner, and I'm a junior at Cheyenne High School, and I'm in volleyball, basketball, and track.
I'm a junior, and I play volleyball, and I'm in track and field.
Okay, I'm Morgan Allard. I'm a senior, and I'm a captain on the soccer team.
I played volleyball, basketball, softball, track, and soccer.
As female athletes, the group we interviewed thought of many adversities they had to face in sports.
Some adversities that females face, I think, is just the view that people have on female athletes is not as high as how they view males. Females have to work harder, or just as hard as males, and they aren't really recognized. Their sports aren't viewed as hard as the guys' sports, and they aren't as good at them as the guys are, and I think that's really not fair.
I think the biggest thing is kind of perception of we're not considered equal athletes, or we weren't, I guess. The boys' teams, they got a little bit more publicity. They definitely got more people turning out for the games than us. And I don't know if we really got the respect that we were as good as we were. In my junior year, we were able to go to win a state championship in basketball. My senior year, we went to the state championship in both basketball and volleyball. And I don't know if we quite got the recognition or accolades that other boys sports teams did.
Definitely noticed some inequalities with where the money goes. I've noticed that more of the male-dominant sports have gotten more booster money, as well as a lot more support, especially from teachers and as far as announcements and announcing when events are and that you should go to them. It's definitely been male-dominant.
The difference in funding between male and female athletics is very apparent. This lack of attention towards women's sports may be responsible for the low fan turnout at games.
The only thing is our fan turnout. I think that boys soccer has experienced more of a student section versus the girls, because overall the stereotypic boys are more fun to watch than girls occurs, and so it's harder for us not having a state championship under our belts. It's harder to get more fans to want to come watch.
It is a little bit discouraging to have less fans turn up at games than boys' games, because for basketball, there is a significant amount of people at the boys' games and then very little at the girls' games.
I would say just from my fall sport, volleyball, we don't get as big of a fan turnout as the guys do at Friday night football games. Say, for a Thursday night volleyball game, we might get 10 fans out, and then the next night there's 50 students out to watch the guys play football. And so I think for our team, it's just we don't have as much energy. It's not necessarily discouraging, but we don't feel as supported as the guys do in their sports.
It definitely is, especially when we're working so hard and we're making state and we have multiple state titles, and compared to them, they don't. We like to see support, and when we do have a larger crowd, it makes us happy. So I wish it was more consistent.
Gender-specific sports could play a part in the division between male and female athletes.
For gender-specific sports, I think that there should be more opportunities for both males and females to be able to play sports that they normally don't.
I definitely feel that if a certain student wants to try out for that sport, they should be able to, no matter their gender. I definitely feel like they should have equal opportunities in all sports.
With only one female football player, Lauren Silberman, in the history of the NFL, it raises attention to the lack of presence female athletes have in professional sports. The lack of pro-female athlete publicity is discouraging to females who wish to pursue their sporting career past high school.
It's kind of discouraging when you're playing sports in high school or in college, knowing that you might not have as many opportunities once you graduate. But I definitely think we've come a long way from past decades, because now there's the National Women's Hockey League and there's a pro women's basketball league, and there's a lot more opportunities than there were, which is good, but it's still minimal, and I think it should be more.
I think that it's really unfair that men not only have more opportunities, but they also get paid more, and they are more well recognized than female athletes. I think it really hurts women's self-esteem and female athletes when they aren't recognized for the same work that they put in compared to the males.
So men having more opportunities than women in professional sports, I think it still kind of burns me at this stage in my life. It's just something that boys have the ability or the dreams of being a professional athlete in multiple number of sports, where girls, like unless you're going to play beach volleyball, there's no professional team volleyball playing. At the time there was Olympic fast pitch softball, which that is no longer, but there's no professional leagues out there. There's professional women's soccer, which is cool, and there's professional women's basketball, but the season is about a fourth of the season that the men's is, and I don't think that it gets the acceptance that the women do.
When you look at professional sports, it's like only men's teams that really get a lot of recognition, and not a lot of women's teams.
I think when girls grow up watching sports on TV, everybody sees their favorite male athletes play every night, but female athletes don't really get shown on TV as much, and you don't hear about them as much in media, and so I think that just puts a different idea about professional sports in girls' heads, that it's not as cool as being a male athlete.
Even though the relations between men and women's sports have evolved and improved equality, it's still not as developed as many hope.
I definitely think that women's sports have become more prominent, or at least they've grown a lot more, because decades past, women's sports have been slim to none. There haven't been as many, but now there are hockey programs which only started 11 years ago.
I do perceive that there is some changing in the inequalities between boys and girls sports. I feel like the girl athletes are definitely raising the bar as far as their abilities, showing that their talents are there. Granted, it's still not at the level that some boys can compete or whatever, but even when I was playing sports 20 years ago, and you look at now and at the girl athletes, you've got workout programs, you've got training programs, you've got weightlifting programs that are available for the off season, during the season, and realizing that all that stuff is important and to help the girls become the best athlete that they can, and getting the respect for that, which is awesome.
Over time, even though women's sports have evolved, there are still major obstacles that need to be confronted. It is undeniable that the common opinion of inequality for women in sports is not only in our school, but also on a national and even global scale. If we expect female athletes to achieve their true physical potential, we must enable them by giving them equal opportunities that men receive.